Instagram and stuff. What?
The big fix. They're both still dating, pretending to break up so that they both get social media traction.
Honestly,
it could happen.
If that's what's happened, good for both of them.
Hi. We always look at each other. I'm Mitch.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Memory Ash. Today we are talking, well, I don't know, do you want an intro? This is sort of your brainchild.
It's not really my brainchild.
Well, okay. Lots of people have done a video about this.
Yeah. There's a lot of drama in the Love is Blind sphere that is surrounding information that has come out like separate from the show.
And we have hinted at this several times because at this point it's all over the internet. It's in the comments and it's people.
Yeah.
And it's also important for context.
Yeah.
For understanding the show. So.
Absolutely. There are quite a few people in the comments that are like, have you heard what's going on? Okay, so to start with, they have announced that they're going to do a live reunion again for season 6.
It's going to be so messy.
Oh,
Are they doing it because it will be messy?
Don't know.
Number one. And number two.
I don't know. Why are they doing this?
Did they fix their technical? It was messy mostly because of the technical problems last time, which was like really ridiculous.
The last time they tried to do this, I was excited. I was ready. we don't drink hardly ever. And I had gotten like a drink around.
Yeah.
I was like prepared. It was
probably in these cups. It probably wasn't. I don't know, maybe.
No, we didn't have the cups yet. We didn't have the cups yet. But it was a special night, okay? So I just hope that they have figured out why it didn't work when they did it this last time before doing it again. Because if they're just jerking us around again with this reunion, I'm not going to be happy at all.
Yeah. It's got to be better.
You're also worried, right?
I'm always about them
the live
even
reunion
functioning properly. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not super worried about what could go down. Like, I do want people to be accountable, and I actually think a live reunion is the best way to get that because then it's harder to like get an edit on squirming out of a question or something like that. I suppose. You kind of see it all.
Although I feel like sometimes the live reunions are a little bit forced because some people are like not particularly good at speaking while live. Like it's something about the live aspect where they can't redo anything. But yeah, then the questions sometimes feel a little forced, or I feel like they're not as willing to go there because they realize that it's live. So anything that they say while live is you can't come back from that. We'll see how that goes. All right. So what do you think? Are you excited for the live reunion? Do you not care? Did you get burned by the last live reunion like we did? Because it hurt.
If they're not new to the show, they probably got burned.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Although some people were more excited than other people.
That's true.
So moving into the drama, there 2 of the male contestants on the show, it has now come out that they had like some level of relationship with people like outside of the show and potentially like came into the show with relationships. So we're going to talk about the least problematic one first, and then we're going to move into the most.
They're both problematic, but so I think to clarify with that, though, I think like we initially thought, the first one is Jeramey. We initially thought like, holy crap, this guy might literally be a serial killer. When I saw some people making comments that were like, this puts context to how his apartment looked and everything. It sort of does still. I'm less afraid of him being a serial killer.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that.
I don't know that I was ever particularly afraid of him being a serial killer, but yeah, so why don't we'll get Jeramey out of the way. So essentially what happened was that Jeramey was engaged prior to Love is Blind, and there was some question about how close to his application to Love is Blind that engagement ended. And they were living together. I don't know if they like owned a home together, but they were living in a home that he owned together.
I was about to ask if he was engaged, but you just said that. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Where are you right now?
I'm listening, but I missed that part. It's like when we're watching the show.
You also already know all of this.
I know. I'm like, what? He was engaged.
So the initial reports essentially were that Jeramey, I think the implication was that he broke up with his fiance to be on the show. So people were very angry. Mm-hmm. And it also, I think, with just that, it made it seem like, oh, maybe his apartment was so neat because it wasn't his. Like, he wasn't really living there. And maybe he was so disconnected in the pods because he wasn't really on Love is Blind for the right reasons. And he, had...
I mean, with his behavior, you could still argue that he's not there for the right reasons.
Yeah. Although he's engaged in, some level of intimacy with 2 women on the show. So, I mean...
If that's his reasons,
he's dating the people on the show.
He is. So. He is.
And then a couple of days ago, Jeramey came out and did a don't know if it was a story, like a reel on Instagram. And he gave some additional context that kind of exonerates him from this situation.
Some of this we also haven't like double checked, but some of it is like kind of like you don't even need to double check a fact in order to know that this is the way some things work when you're selling a house in particular.
Right.
Yeah.
So essentially what he said, so one of the things that came out was the timeline. They were saying that his house sold in March 2023, and it was like a couple weeks before he
Almost
went
like right
on
ahead.
Love is Blind,
Yeah.
which would have meant that he owned that home with his, and was like living, the implication was he was living in it with his ex through like the application process, all of those.
Sold his house,
right.
dumped his fiance, and then hopped on the show. That's my initial information when I was like, this guy might be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that didn't make him look particularly good, and he was pretty upset about it. So he explained what actually happened, and according to him, and I think this is all like you can, I didn't fact check it. If you want to fact check it, you can. So I can't imagine he's lying about this. But he ended his relationship in like October, November 2022.
Which would be 6-7 months prior to selling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took him that 6-7 months to sell his house. So that's why the house didn't sell until March 2023. But he wasn't living in it with his ex that whole time. He had gotten an apartment and moved out. And they were intending to sell the house.
If you're split up and you're trying to sell a house, 6 months makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really that long.
It doesn't. This guy is a liar. That's important to keep in mind. But the selling the house thing, like, you can't just sell a house in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unless a developer's trying to buy it to knock it down and build up like a big high rise and they've been
Or you're
sitting on it
in
for months
like
or something.
an extremely fast-paced real estate market or something. But it does make sense that it was.
But this is not an extremely fast-paced real estate. People can barely move right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on what city.
That's
you're
true.
in
It depends on the city.
So, he also provided tech support showing that he actually didn't even like apply for the show. What happened was someone from, like a producer from the show, DM'd him and said, hey, I know this is crazy, but like we're going to be doing a Love is Blind in your area. Are you interested? And,
hey, this is crazy.
Hey, this is crazy.
I just heard it. I'm sorry. We're going to do Love is Blind.
Maybe.
Maybe. Not singers.
No. And he has text proof that was November 30th, 2022. So yes, quickly after he had gotten out of this relationship.
He gets out of a relationship. He gets texted by Love is Blind saying, hey, you want to be on our show? He's like, it. That's kind of what I hear, honestly. Yeah. He's like, just got out of a relationship.
Okay.
And you don't know how it ended. It could have been rocky for a while before it ended, in which case he's just ready to move on.
Right.
It's a bit of a rebound, but...
Some people move on, like, pretty quickly. It just depends. Like, but yeah, he wasn't doing anything shady, like reaching out to producers or anything before his engagement ended. That being said, if I was the girl that he was engaged to and found out that he had applied for Love is Blind or whatever, been recruited to Love is Blind that quickly after our engagement, I would be mad.
Yeah.
And I would feel like that was bullshit.
She might already be mad though. And here's one thing we don't know, and that I'm just going to throw out as a question is like, what was the state of their relationship? Why did it end?
Yeah.
I don't think we know any of that. Like, did it end because he cheated? It would be within his character based on what we've seen in the show. Some people are sort of defending him, saying that he was like in a really unhealthy situation with Laura, whatever.
It's true.
But so maybe that isn't his typical behavior. Some people cheat a lot. Some people don't. You've got like Jimmy, who's like, I've never cheated, and for all reasons, or for all evidence we have, it's true.
Yeah.
So we don't know what kind of person Jeramey really is. We know that he was evasive and sort of lying in a conversation with Laura.
And just in a toxic situation with Laura. I mean, that is true too. Like, I don't condone people lying. I don't condone people cheating. But at the same time, like, yes, it's true that his relationship with Laura was not excellent. Yeah. And then the other thing was the initial, like, information that people had about his engagement was kind of like implying that he hadn't told anyone, like producers or the people he was dating on Love is Blind.
Oh yeah, he secretly just like gets like dumps the fiance in the house and then is like keep it all covered up.
So the way that was put out was kind of like, oh hey, Laura and Sarah Ann, like, you should know this information about Jeramey. And his argument is, and I would imagine people would reach out and correct this if it's not true, but his argument is that he absolutely did tell them. They just don't show literally every conversation on the show.
Somewhere there's a tape with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just edited it out. It just wasn't. And honestly, they didn't feature him a lot.
Barely. It was like a snippet. It was like, he's going to be on the show, so let's throw in a couple clips of him and the two people that he was sort of choosing between.
Right.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And then... yeah, it was just him hiding behind the couch for a couple of scenes, which when I was editing one video, I was like, why is this guy always behind the couch? There's like, I wonder if there's like a protective
maybe
body language, like sort of element there. Like you talked about in some videos, when I get uncomfortable, I start crossing my arms.
Yeah.
He's like hiding behind the couch.
Yeah.
Because in a way, maybe it's uncomfortable for him, or I don't know.
Yeah, people do it. So like I carry extra weight, and like other people that do that too. There's like a joke going around that like you sit on a couch and you grab the nearest pillow and you like put it over your stomach and hold it. And I do that as like a protective thing, you know. Yeah, I do it all the time.
Like subconsciously, but then you know you're doing it and you're like, oh, pillow.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'll try and put it to the side because I realize that I'm doing it, you know. Like,
grab a pillow.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't like Jeramey still. Like,
yeah,
I still think his behavior was just like not great.
But this isn't a smoking gun to me. This isn't him.
This is fine.
He's a serial killer. It's like
why do you keep saying he's a serial killer over and over?
Because we named the video that because I don't think we had the whole context.
Oh, because she said serial killer clean. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so he also is like pretty angry that he's catching a lot of heat for his behavior on the show, and then for this, which he feels unjust. And I agree. I don't think this changes my perspective about him at all. I feel like it's kind of crappy that this got brought out, and then I also am glad that he clarified the timeline, and I feel like this just kind of solves it, and it just doesn't have anything to do with anything, in my opinion.
When people have other feelings about it or other information, you know, you're gonna comment. You know, it's gonna whatever you want to say, you can say. I'm pretty comfortable in this right now with everything I've seen and heard, and honestly, people aren't dwelling on it. I think partly because of this clarification, and also because of who we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, so maybe I'll remember Trevor. I think...
And some people called this out immediately.
I know.
Like, first episode or two.
I know. And do you know what's frustrating to me about that is, like, I just can't see... Like, I cannot tell. Like, these people come on the show and, like, they dupe me. Like,
That's why we just hang out with each other.
Right. Like, it's scary to me that these people exist because, like... I cannot tell that this stuff is happening, and I don't know how people do it.
I've already said it, and I'll say it again. You can't detect straight lies.
Some people
if they're done well enough. Well, no. What the reason people said Trev that I saw, and maybe some people could have seen something, but they said this show has a pattern of making problematic men look okay for like washing the off.
Yeah.
And it's possible something was said in there and they kind of pushed it down. It's possible Netflix didn't know about this. It's possible Trevor's just a really good liar. But the truth is that some people are detecting a pattern here of like really bad dude being made look really, really good.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Trevor is.
Yeah. Because for me, I was like, oh, puppy dog. Like,
you said
so
it.
Cute.
He looks so huggable.
Right.
When he tells that story about like, I had a really good proposal prepared.
Right. And he's like cute and nice. And he's getting
he has
along
a
with
mullet.
All the guys. Right. And he has a mullet.
Which I can't pull off.
And he's like, I felt really bad for him. Well, Trevor is not looking so great.
Trevor is scary. I'm sorry.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
So we have receipts on this one that we're gonna show up on the screen while we talk about this.
You actually took screenshots on this lady's account after she posted them.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're all over the internet at this point, but you double checked on her account.
I went to her stories and I took screenshots of what his ex-girlfriend is saying.
It's like is this a secondary source or is this a primary source then? Because they're hearing it through us.
We are a secondary source.
For them.
Yes.
But you have the primary.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will be showing it to you all. So,
all right.
Or you could find
over
it
my
yourself.
face. I'll just disappear for a minute. Bling. No?
Yeah, we could.
Or I'll put my hands like this and hold it up. Like.
Right. It's weighty for sure. So the crux of this is that Trevor had a girlfriend named Natalie Marrero when he left for Love is Blind, for all intents and purposes through Love is Blind, and all the way up to like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the show aired. And the show aired almost a year or right at a year after it was taped. So he had a girlfriend
this whole time.
is my understanding.
Including being on another show as well.
They're taping Perfect Match now.
Right now.
Yes.
So he's dumped her for the Perfect Match filming.
Yes,
As far as we know. Okay.
Or maybe he was with her during Perfect Match too. I'm not sure. That's actually a good question.
It's hard because you brought a Perfect Match recently, and I wasn't sure how that worked in the timeline.
I thought they were taping it right now. Okay, but
who knows?
I could be off.
It's possible through a whole nother Netflix dating show. He's also with this lady. Right. Who knows?
Also,
put that out there.
If any of this, if you know information that contradicts any of this, please, please add it.
Yeah.
Because I'm very
context.
I'm fallible as a human, so this may not be quite right, but I'm pretty sure. I did. Okay, so let's just, to cover our butts. Let's just say this is all alleged, okay? Allegedly, this is what happened.
Yeah.
So the timeline is that Trevor had broken up with Natalia in February of this year, right before his season of Love is Blind started airing after ghosting her for about a week. This was frustrating to her, so she decided that she was going to air out his dirty laundry, which includes releasing screenshots of the texts between them that are like dated, so you can see here what they look like. Some of the context of this is him saying stuff like, I love you so much, honey, I'm excited to get back to you and start our life together. She's asking him, like, did you land? So this is after they filmed. These are dated from last year after he filmed Love is Blind.
Oh, yeah.
He asks her, do you still love me?
This is not a single man's communication.
No, I'm going to marry you. Things like that. He also tells her about how he gave Chelsea the collar of his dog Chelsea that has now passed away, and then tells her he hopes she knows how much he loves her, and says
hopefully Chelsea didn't pass away under mysterious circumstances.
His dog? No, I think his dog was just old, okay?
Okay. I don't trust this guy.
And he says that he had to pretend his relationship with her wasn't real life to say anything he said. So presumably she's going to be watching the show. She's going to see him romancing Chelsea and saying some stuff to her.
It's not real, baby.
Right. His girlfriend is not going to be happy about that. And he's kind of covering all of his bases, being like, I had to do this for the show. And she obviously knows he went on the show, so she was complicit in being like, yeah, okay, you're going to go on this show. Fine.
This reads to me like Alpha Bro being like, oh, I could get my career going. We can make a lot of money off of this. I'm going to go on this show. Why not? I got on. And then her being like, yeah, baby, we're just such a power couple. Let's do it. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. So you have a couple more texts here.
Yeah, this is just the final text of them kind of having the discussion in February when he ghosted her. So this now is dated as of this year, with them kind of going back and forth prior to him ghosting her.
And that's her saying that he deserves somebody better than her? If I didn't know that you deserve 10 times better than me?
That's him.
Oh, that's him. Oh, I don't know how to read texts.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's being oh, you deserve better than me.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, frankly, yes. I don't know who this person is, but...
And just in case you were like, well, we don't even know, she made these up, whatever. I mean, yeah, she could have. But
honestly, anything can be deep fakes nowadays.
Sure. But also she provided pictures of the two of them together. Also, they attended events together. They were known to be a couple in
Can you deep fake events?
The bodybuilding community.
Sorry.
So people knew them.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so it's
creepy, actually.
They're probably all what?
The idea that you could deep fake an event, like a Possessor. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah. Okay. We're not gonna talk about Possessor. You love Possessor.
I love.
Check out Possessor. It's crazy.
If you like horror,
yeah.
Anyway, so make of this what you will, but I mean, to me, I believe this. She worked with a couple of different people to get this out. People are sharing it on Instagram. People are making TikTok reels about it. I think it's pretty far out there at this point that this happened. He has said, to my knowledge, nothing about this.
Well, it's because he's got this show still needs to finish, and then he has another show that's going to be coming out that he's going to be on. If he admits any of this, people are, why doesn't he just do it at this point? Because everybody knows it. Either way, he's screwed. But I think he's just trying to figure out what to do with it. Maybe he's trying to find out a way to deny it or blow it up or be like, this lady's crazy. Kind of that kind of stuff. That's usually what people like this do. Maybe he'll sit in it and maybe he'll just finally own it one day. I don't know. He hasn't yet.
Also, I think historically we like don't do a good job of holding these people responsible in terms of like them being able to go on show after show after show, and like they're still making income from this. Like they're still famous after this, even though they're treating people really terribly.
Yeah. I hate that.
So then I went to her Instagram and looked at her stories, which were public. I'm not like, I don't follow her.
I'm sure her stories are blowing up pretty big.
I'm sure they're huge,
she's got a lot
honestly.
of followers recently.
Right.
This is good for her account, I'm sure.
It is good for her, which I don't know, is some people would say is like a reason for her to like lie or embellish, because it is definitely good for her. And then she's a bodybuilder, so like it drives engagement with her Instagram and stuff. What?
The big fix. They're both still dating, pretending to break up so that they both get social media traction.
Honestly,
it could happen.
If that's what's happened, good for both of them.
They're both big enough liars and kind of scumbags at this point that like...
Right, because she knew that he was going on this show and deceiving these women, which is like not
really
okay,
messed up.
Yeah, it is
because he could have ended up in a relationship with a woman.
Absolutely, he could have ended up engaged.
Which is her saying that it's okay that he completely messes with somebody's emotions.
Yeah, but also let's like focus on the real person we need to hold accountable is Trevor.
For sure, Trevor.
So then people were asking her, she did kind of like a Q&A on Instagram in her stories so that people could ask her questions. She would respond, and I'm just going to put up a couple of those. So one of them was, if Netflix gives you the opportunity to share your truth at the reunion, would you? And she said maybe, but they were filming the reunion soon, and it was unlikely.
I'm confused by it because I thought it was a live reunion. Or maybe they're live bits and like recorded bits or something.
Or
I don't know.
I don't know if maybe she got the weekend wrong or something like that, because I don't think they're actually doing the reunion until next... Is it next weekend?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's... Has Trevor contacted you since you outed him as trash? He tried to call me yesterday morning before everything came out. I had to block his number because I was afraid of the potential backlash from prior threats he made towards me for coming forward. He blocked me on IG this morning.
Did she talk about the threats on here?
Yes. What was Trevor hoping to gain? Fame, money, attention? She said, yeah, all the things that come with being reality TV show famous. It does make sense. They make a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's like a massive way to increase your platforms while putting in minimal effort, I would say.
Bodybuilding competition type people are already adjacent to this kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So I could totally see this being like them very much thinking of it as a career booster.
Right.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And then after this, I looked at the people from like the last few seasons of Love is Blind to see like what was going on their Instagrams.
Vitamins.
They're hawking products right and left. Seltzers. Like you wouldn't even believe the amount of product placements that they're making a lot of money from that.
Yeah.
So he's hoping that that's going to be his lifestyle. Is essentially like easy money for him. And then she says he's already filmed Perfect Match 2. So this is like people are seeing as a confirmation. It was rumored that he was going to be on Perfect Match 2, but this seems like a pretty good confirmation that he, in fact, did sign up for and go on Perfect Match 2.
Which we'll be watching.
We will. Yeah. I'm really hoping Dom's there. Dom is supposed to be there, and I'm like...
I hope Dom somehow finds a way to eliminate...
Trevor.
That would be the ultimate.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It would be like a dragon slayer, you know? Dom is just like nicely gets rid of Trevor somehow. Very politely, I would imagine.
I would imagine too, yeah. This person says, you're so strong. I'm sorry this happened to you. When did you guys break up? And she says, he ghosted me for 7 days, about 3 weeks before the show aired, which we saw the text message where she's saying to him, you didn't talk to me for 7 days.
Yeah.
And she's upset about that because it's rude. And then broke up with me when he returned home from work about 2 weeks before the show aired.
So it sounds like the show's about to air, and he's like, I'm just going to dump this because I don't need her around anymore. I'm going to be famous, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this lines up with Perfect Match, because I don't know how long they filmed that for.
Yeah.
And then the final one, which, if true, again, this is like allegedly his ex-girlfriend is the one that is alleging this, but if true, this is disturbing. She says... Someone asks her, is it true he threatened to expose an explicit tape to your son if you outed him? And she says, yes. We had a conversation during the split about what would happen if I did exactly what I'm doing now, telling the truth. He said he would try to ruin my life and send our intimate videos to my family, specifically my son.
And when I heard that, I lost my mind.
Her son is also a child. Like, her son is young.
It's
not that it does matter though, right? Her son's a child.
That action is criminal revenge porn.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not criminal in every state. I don't know the laws on that, but in a lot of states they are. It
certainly
is.
Sounds like revenge porn.
Yeah. I mean, that's
certainly
what it is.
Sounds like he was trying
and then
to...
to her son is like some weird level of f***ed up. Mm-hmm. Like that I like. So if this is at all true, that guy is. They're villains on reality TV, and then there are people like this that I hope just gets completely iced out.
Like villains in real. This is real life villain behavior.
Yeah,
this isn't just like on a television show villain behavior. This is like real in real life. You are threatening to do something absolutely horrific to someone else.
Yeah, it's.
And I can't even imagine. Is that blackmail then too?
I guess.
I don't. What is
there
that?
There are multiple crimes being committed if that's true.
Like somebody is anybody a lawyer? Like tell me if this is blackmail. Like this is really scary and awful. Honestly, like it gives me chills thinking about it because I can't imagine. It's hard enough to break up with someone, but then to say to someone like I'm gonna tell the truth about what happened between us, and for that person to say you can try, but I'm gonna. You know that video that we took of ourselves, I'm sending it to everyone like they're all gonna see it, and that's horrible.
It's a common thing that really abusive people do. It's intimidation and blackmail. I mean, it happens to all sorts of people and they keep their mouths shut.
Absolutely terrible. Terrible behavior.
But I mean, not to normalize this. It's not. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
I was blindsided. Like I truly did not expect.
I thought it could be bad. I never expected it to be that bad.
Yeah, I thought maybe he would be like, oh, okay, he's not like... You put people on a pedestal, right? Yeah. And people were definitely doing that with him. And I thought, okay, well, maybe he's not that good. He's not that great.
He's just kind of average. He's like Jimmy bad. Yeah, like
exactly.
Right?
At this point, Jimmy is looking so good.
Yeah,
it's like out of control.
This is how
we'll just wait, I guess,
let's
for
stop
his
calling
downfall.
Let's stop calling him good.
But let's also say, like, I've heard nothing to this point. If you've heard things differently, let us know in the comments. But I've heard nothing bad about Clay. Like, no one has come forward and said that
as far as, like,
he's a terrible person or he was dating someone while he was on the show. No one's come forward to say anything
he's threatening people
negative
or anything like
about
that.
him.
Yeah. Jimmy has a pretty clean record right now.
Someone tried, someone on TikTok tried to come out and claimed that they were Jimmy's ex-girlfriend, and that he had a girlfriend while he was on the show, and then it turns out it was satire, but like no one could tell it was satire.
That's bad satire.
So, people think that she just did it for like internet clout, so she did it to get more followers on TikTok, and it worked.
Okay, well, that's one way to start a career.
Right, but he came out and he was like, no, this isn't true. So yeah, nothing real has come out that's bad about Jimmy. And then the Jeramey thing too, I mean, just depending on how you feel about it, I don't think it's bad what he did. He moved on a little quick.
I don't think there's any dirt on Johnny either. He seems fine.
Oh, I forget Johnny's
a lot of people are like, I don't know him, and that's how I feel. Right. And same with Kenneth. Like Kenneth.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's a principal, so usually you get fingerprinted and like background checked and stuff, and not that this is all that kind of stuff.
This is all stuff because you had said to me at one point, you were like, don't they said they do background checks on these people, but like this stuff, they don't know who all you've like hooked up with. They don't know if you're like dating someone secretly. Like you can lie about all of this stuff, and I mean they're not hiring PIs to like follow these people to make sure that they're telling the truth about every last thing.
It's like a criminal background check. They just like probably run it through the system, make sure you don't have any weird backgrounds. Yeah,
absolutely.
Of, like violence and stuff.
Who knows? Maybe they do like maybe they make sure that if you say you've worked somewhere, you actually worked there or something, because they can do background checks that are a little bit more specific. Maybe they do that. But they're not going to be able to suss something like this out. Yeah,
no, I hear that. And I feel like something needs to be done, though, to make the next season more faithful to the concept of the show. Regardless, you could say they couldn't see this, like they had no way of knowing. Well, okay, find a way to do better, is my opinion. You're making so much money on this show. Do a better job of finding guys that don't suck this much.
I honestly think they would have to cast for a brand new show. I don't think they can continue casting for Love is Blind.
They do those shows where they like trick people into thinking they're going to be on a different show or whatever. Couldn't they do something like that?
Yeah,
or is that too like...
Even it being Netflix, I think people would know. If you're a Netflix and you tell them you're a Netflix producer and you're like, oh yeah, we're casting for a show where like, how do you feel about engagement? How do you feel about marriage? They'd be like, this is for Love is Blind.
Yeah, I hear you.
Also, any Netflix show at this point, people are blowing up and they're becoming like these little mini celebrities from these shows. That's a huge, like, that's so much temptation.
Well,
for people that want to be famous.
We said that we were going to talk about a concept, and then one of the comments that we shared yesterday talked about how they thought that Love Is Blind has kind of run its course.
Yeah.
And then you were saying to me, and so I say what I say, which I just said, which is that they need to find checks and balances to do better. And then you told me
what?
That you thought that it was
remember.
sort of like imploding under its own weight, and that this show is just too big to really successfully find couples that aren't horrible. And it's not that every couple is horrible, because again we have Johnny and Amy doing okay, and there we go. But that's one couple, but it's a couple. They made it a couple, but it's not the show that people used to see it as.
No.
And could it ever be that show again?
Well, and was it the same person that said, so we watched Love Is Blind Sweden recently, which is like...
Somebody commented on that.
Top-notch television. Like, I would highly recommend it.
It feels like early season Love Is Blind.
It does.
Because the people actually seem like they're there to just find couples.
And a whole bunch of them end up in happy couplings.
Was it Chrissy Lee and...
oh, yeah. Rasmus.
Rasmus.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah. They're so cute.
And plus, listening to people speak Swedish for hours is kind of fun.
It's nice.
We're learning Norwegian, sort of, and Swedish is close enough that you kind of understand it. So it's kind of fun to like.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun show. Like, I would highly recommend it because it's not like the American version. In America, everyone's realized that this stuff is going to get them famous. It's going to get them easy money, and they're utilizing that in ways that are just really gross. And it sucks.
We haven't seen Japan and Brazil yet, if people think that's good too. So if you really need a Love Is Blind fix and you're not just there for the drama, Sweden was good. I would like, if people know whether or not those other two are good, let us know. I'm borderline tempted to check it out. We're too busy right now, but like I would watch those.
I would too. Yeah. Brazil's had 3 seasons, so it's got to be good.
That makes me think that it's starting to get bad though, because that's when it starts to turn down. But 1 and 2 is probably fun.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are probably good.
So I don't know.
I'm not gonna like, producers can be creative. I had heard rumors that behind the scenes Love Is Blind producers are scrambling because they can't allow this to continue to happen, or they don't have a show anymore.
They're gonna lose the faith of the people, or they're gonna lose the trust of the viewers.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like not this season, but eventually people just stop coming back.
Right.
I believe.
And this has been huge for Netflix. Yeah. So the last thing they want to do is lose this. So I believe in the creativity of the producers on the show, that maybe they will be able to come up with some kind of concept where they can figure out who is bull and who is actually there to find someone to marry. I don't know, how do you feel about it? For the people that already called this, like, do you feel like you're looking at everyone else like, I told you so?
Yeah.
I told you this guy was gonna end up being horrible, or like, do you see how we were all duped? Because I feel like maybe not all, but a lot of us, I feel like, fell into the same trap.
I fall into every trap when it comes to like, oh, this person, I can't. I'm bad at being paranoid about people, even though I'm kind of paranoid about people.
You've been burned by people before.
I know.
So you would think.
It's what we do. We get burned.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I'm glad I'm not dating, because I would definitely. I'm so gullible. It's a problem. Yeah, well, that's it. That's all the drama. If I got anything wrong, please correct me in the comments below. If you enjoy watching stuff on our channel, tomorrow we're going to come out with a Q&A to celebrate
1,000.
Hitting 1,000 subs. So,
we already have a lot of questions from yesterday's video.
Yep.
Which is today's video, with yesterday's video. But I want to get as many as we can, just to parts, because some of them kind of overlap in like sort of what they mean, and we can kind of bucket some questions. So as many questions as y'all want to throw at us, we'll try to answer as many of those as we are able to. Yeah, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. The weirder the better. I love answering weird Q&A questions. Like in my life, I've been on a few panels, and just like the weird ones are my favorite. So yeah, I like weird in general. Yeah. But it can be normal too, though. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Did you already say that? Nope. Okay. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff with us. Yep. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye. Then I got it knocked, and I started going, ridiculous. All those tearjerker. Hey, we're going to go on a cruise this summer. You should come with us.